Hi there, it's Fraser here from Simpson Physiotherapy, one of your Parkinson's expert physios, and today I am going to be speaking to you about neuroplasticity in Parkinson's disease and how to harness your brain's superpower to help get you moving better and being much freer and manage your symptoms a lot more despite having Parkinson's disease. Okay, so just a little bit about me. My name is Fraser. I am a Parkinson's specialist neurophysio. I own and run Simpson Physiotherapy based in Glasgow and Stirlingshire. And me and my team have a fabulous range of opportunities to help people with Parkinson's disease. Moving on today to speak about neuroplasticity. So what is neuroplasticity? Neuroplasticity is, in a nutshell, basically our brain's ability to learn how to do new things. When we're living with something with Parkinson's disease, it affects the way that our brain operates. So we then have to learn new ways and updating that computer software to be able to move better and more effectively despite having challenges with Parkinson's. Okay, so because Parkinson's disease has the challenges with movement being thought about, and then it goes through the part called the substantia nigra, and then goes down to your spinal column and tells everything how to move. When we have like a handbrake on in that system, which is where the damage from Parkinson's disease causes problems with that signaling going from the top of our brain down to our spinal cord, it means that our brains have to learn a new way to move and a new way to think about how to move to be able to move better with Parkinson's. So you'll have heard us speaking about some of the pillars of life with Parkinson's disease. We want everything to be big, we want it to be full of power, and we want you to be very focused on making individual specific movements, right? These three pillars of being able to move are part of driving and promoting and improving neuroplastic change in the way that your brain works with the challenges of PD. Okay, so for example, when we get people who have been living with Parkinson's disease for maybe 5, 6, 7 years, their brains are used to having a level of dopamine in their system from the dopamine agonists. So what that means is when that medication's in your system, your brain doesn't have to think that hard about moving because you've got all this extra dopamine floating around in the area that's been injured with Parkinson's. What then happens is the medication starts to wear off and your brain's got to think about how you move in a very different way, because all of a sudden the medication is not the medication is no longer masking the symptoms. So what we look at with our clients with Parkinson's disease is how we are better able to give you the tools to get your brain thinking about how to move differently, and then reinforcing that thinking so that we're making the brain change the way that it thinks, change its structure to be able to deal better with life with Parkinson's disease, going from periods where you're on your medications and you don't have to think about movement as much as you do when you're going to towards more of an off period. Okay, so when we're working with you, we're essentially recalibrating your brain to deal with these fluctuations in how you move. Not only that, what we're doing is encouraging the brain to remember what you're moving. In the same way that if you don't use it, you lose it, it's the same thing that happens with Parkinson's disease. Because everything shrinks down, our brain forgets that we've got certain movements, which is why we encourage big, strong, powerful movements in our classes and in our one-to-ones. So by working on that, what we're doing is improving your brain's superpower to be able to learn new things, which is what neuroplasticity is. And that neuroplastic change is how you then manage and live and move better with Parkinson's disease. Next thing that we're going to speak about is, well, okay, that's fabulous. How do we improve this? Excellent. What we're now thinking about is what issues do you have? What challenges have you got with your movement patterns, with the way you're currently moving, that need to be improved to be able to make sure that you can move as well as you possibly can with Parkinson's. Some people If you are more what we would call bradykinesic, so this is your very classic Parkinson's disease, who is living with PD for a wee while, very small, very flexed, not really aware that actually this is the posture that they're in, head tends to be down and looking forward, we tend to have to do an awful lot of corrective work on your posture first. If you're somebody that's more tremor dominant, where the tremors are very, very apparent and they're maybe interfering with an awful lot of normal day-to-day activities, like being able to hold a fork, like being able to something along the lines of holding a fork, cutlery, cups, that sort of thing. We look at similar kind of principles to big, strong, powerful movements. But what we pay much more attention to with tremor-dominant Parkinson's disease is accuracy of movement. So we look much more at giving you specific things to work on to improve your accuracy of your movement, so that even though you do have a tremor that's getting in the way of some of the things that you would normally do, by working with it and understanding how you need to think differently to get that outcome, like using a knife and fork, like lifting a cup, opening a door handle, whatever it is, we can get you thinking differently so that you can better manage with those issues, with those challenges. Okay, the next one is, the third and final one, is agility impaired. So agility impaired, what we see is very often a lot of trunk stiffness, rigidity, up and down the spine. And what it means is it's very difficult to shift weight from side to side. So again, what we then need to think about is, how do we encourage, how do we retrain your brain, again going back to neuroplasticity, how we improve your brain's way of thinking to encourage your brain to think differently, to improve this side to side movement. Because if you're very rigid, it's really difficult to take a forward and backward step. So we need to work on lots of exercises, big, strong, powerful movements. Again, lots of twisting and rotation exercises here to get you shifting weight from side to side, so that you're then better able to step and walk. Now, what this also means is this is practice. One of the biggest things that you've got to remember is we've got to keep you practicing the right things as often as we can. With PD, your symptoms fluctuate on a daily basis, and with your medications, they can fluctuate on an hourly basis. So that you can then manage your symptoms and your condition better, we've got to get you practicing at different times of the day, in different situations that you're finding challenging, in good situations and more challenging situations, so that we can really train your brain to develop good and better and more helpful habits and ways of thinking, again, neuroplasticity, to be able to, so that you've got better software that you can use to improve the way that you move. Okay, this is quite a complicated subject. We spend years and years and years and years working on it to understand it. And what we ask from our clients is, you just need to tell us what your challenges are, what you would like to achieve, and then we do all the heavy lifting with you, and we're the ones that have to figure out the best way for you to achieve the outcomes that you want. And with a collaborative approach like that, once we know what it is that you're aiming for, we're much, much, much better able to come up with a program that's very, very specific and tailored to you. Everybody who has Parkinson's disease is different, and there's lots of different symptoms there. And so we have to have a very tailored and individual approach to be able to keep you moving and slowing down your symptom progression as best we possibly can. Great to see everybody here again. I really hope that's been informative for you. If you would like to hear anything else about Parkinson's disease, or you think that you might be able to benefit from some of the help that myself and my team would be able to provide, please, the contact information is in the show notes. I've been Fraser. Great to see you. Please, by all means, get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. Take care.